real friend. I really love everybody in here. And some of you I just met for today, but for coming out today. I still love you. Okay, so why are we here? Okay, so you're about to watch a live taping, a live recording of the Insight Podcast. It's an interview series where I sit down with some of the most motivational, inspirational, and talented people that I know. And I sit down with them and I break down how they became successful, how they reached their goals, and how they started their whole paths. And the whole reason why I'm doing this is to make everybody a lot better, a lot more intelligent. Because the world is a crazy place, so I'm trying to do my part to make it a lot better. Okay? And this is an idea that I got back in 2015. When I would get on the train, I would go to work, and I would live like in the middle of Queens. And going from the middle of Queens downtown Manhattan, the trains are crazy. You're packed like a sardine. People are like bumping you all over the place. So I would start listening to podcasts, and then I noticed how much they were helping me. And it started helping me so much that I just started to create my own. I put the idea off until last year, 2017, when I started interviewing a bunch of my friends. And then one interview turned into two, and then into three. Then I said, I think I have something here. Then I kept going, and then now everybody's here. Yeah. So a thought became something, and it's like really amazing that everybody's here right now. Okay, so now I just want to tell everybody the three reasons why I started this whole thing. Okay, the first is that, you know, I wanted to help people, and I know that sounds cheesy as hell. Right? It sounds cheesy as hell, but ultimately that's why. And most of you know that I'm an attorney. I'm a public defender, a criminal defense attorney. And in my job, I speak to a lot of people in bad situations. And I see what Freddie, you're laughing over there. And most of my colleagues who are here, we all know that. You know, a lot of people make mistakes. Sometimes it's because of circumstances, bad parenting, a bunch of things that are uncontrollable. A lot of times it's because of lack of guidance. And whenever I see a kid in court, someone around 19, 20, I see a fork in the road. You can either go left or right. You can never come back to court, or you will always come back to court. And whenever I see a young child, I try to do everything in my power to make sure they do not come back. Okay? And realizing how much podcasts help me, I said, let me try to help how I can. You know, I love video production. I love doing all these types of things other than being an attorney, so I said, let me just try to combine all these interests and do that, okay? The second reason is that I wanted to start exposing great work, right? There are so many people out there that are doing amazing work, but that nobody really knows about. I have amazing friends that are doing great work, so I said, why don't I start doing something with that? You know, now with the internet, social media, and all these technologies, I told myself, Jonathan, you know, I'm not waiting around to get chosen by anybody. I'm gonna choose myself, and then I'm gonna bring on the people that I know, and I'm going to feature all their work. And two great examples are behind me, and I'm going to introduce to you briefly, okay? And then the third reason, I'm going to tell you afterwards to kind of close off, okay? Now, one final thing. This is a live recording, so imagine everybody is like in a studio. So I'm going to need some participation, okay? Yeah. Because it's going to, right? Just like that, but a little more. So don't, and everybody in here, we're all friends. I know all of you personally, so don't be shy. You know, I'm sure we. Don't be shy. And here we're taping like it's a live show, okay? And I do have to give before we begin. I have to give big shout outs to two of the sponsors, okay? The first is the Children's Art Carnival, and I'm going to mention more about them, but this is the place where we're at right now. The executive director, Michael Unthink, he was gracious enough to allow me to use this space. So this place was founded in 1969 by an activist and entrepreneur called Betty Taylor, and the whole purpose of this whole center is to give young people a creative space to be productive members of society through the use of art, okay? The second person is my co-producer, the founder of Hard Headed Media, and also of the KOOE, Concert Booking and Event Management Group. That was a lot. But he's in the back, Andre Garrett. He's been a mentor to me when I was like freaking out because the audio system wasn't working. He was like, yo, Jay, you can be all good. And it was it all turned out. So I get it, and the food, okay? And so thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. And all right, so now we're about to get started. So I'm gonna ask you guys I'll let you know, but really don't be shy. Clap it up, like let's really turn this place up a lot, okay? And then, but since we're on camera, I gotta put on my on-camera persona. Keep that sound real quick. What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. This is Jonathan Arias. I'm your host of the Insight Podcast, the podcast where I sit down with some of the most motivational and inspirational people around with the goal of giving you the blueprint for success. Today is a very special episode. It's never been done before, and it's special because we are in front of a live audience today. Turn up, it's gonna be a good one. That's right. That's right. It's gonna be a good one, y'all. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. Okay, so today's show is all about reaching your potential, right? Potential is one of those things that you're told that you have, but if you don't meet it, then it's absolutely nothing. You know, if somebody tells you that you have potential, you should applaud yourself for that, but you should do something about it. And today, I'm gonna give you two unique perspectives on how two individuals that I know, two people that I admire, have been able to reach the potential with even much more down the line, okay? And this is what I wanna do for everybody, to make sure that I inspire you, motivate you, and for whatever you wanna go after, make sure you go after it. But I wanna illustrate it through two people. All right, so the brother to the left, he has over 10 years of acting experience. So acting is one of those fields where your parents tell you never to do, right? Right, Ma? My mother's back there. So it's... All right, you know, and the reason why is because it's a highly competitive field. Not everybody makes it, okay? But the gentleman next to me has taken on that task fearlessly, undaunted, and has done an amazing job. Recently, he's appeared on shows such as Jessica Jones, Limitless, Blue Bloods, all these big network television shows, he's been on them. He's also worked with people such as Megan Good, Woody Allen, Kevin Hart. This is the guy who I admire because I met him before he was taking any classes. I mean, before any acting classes back in college in Pennsylvania. So to see him grow, to see his path is really amazing. And let me give everyone, please give a big round of applause to Jeremy Burnnett, please. I'm gonna introduce you now, and then I'll go back to you. Okay. And the gentleman to my right, he's someone that I can call my brother as well. We met back in Pennsylvania State, who says that? Penn State University, when we were in college, and I've seen his growth. Before he became a motivational speaker, he was working in IT out in Ohio. And then he changed his life and started his company called Jay Has Heart, which is a company that focuses on teaching children social and emotional intelligence. Okay? And this is the man right here, Jabari Hart. Everyone, please give him a round of applause. Thank you. All right, y'all. And I'm just Jonathan. All right? So let's get this thing started. Okay, so again, we're talking about potential here, and I really want to discuss how you got into your field, Jeremy. So right now you're an actor. You've been working on it forever. You've taken tons of classes. But before you started gaining your success, what made you become an actor?
I had a 2.5 GPA, and somebody told me it was an easy A and 4 credits.
That's a good start.
No, but that is the truth. Yeah, my friend told me that it was a class, an intro to theater class, an easy A, 4 credits, and I was doing recreation park tourism management, and me and Jonathan had football dreams, and like we was gonna go to NFL, and here I am.
Doing the podcast of him.
Doing the podcast.
It worked out though.
Yeah, it did. It
did work out. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I got into it. And then I graduated and I couldn't find a job, and I was doing like work for the census, and I was doing social work, but I wasn't happy. And then I started doing beats and making music, but it just didn't sit right with me. So I said, you know what? I had a lot of fun with acting, and I got my A, you know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. See? I got my A, but I wanted to do, I just wanted to throw myself in there. So I started taking classes, and I started networking, and it just really fit, you know?
What about acting attracted you to it?
For me, the journey of acting, it helped me learn so much about myself. It helped me be able to talk to people, to share my experiences, to talk about my dream, to motivate people. Like a lot of the stuff that I put up on Instagram, and when I share my story, a lot of actors or people say, oh my God, I went through the same thing. Thank you for sharing that. It meant so much to me. So just acting, it's just kind of like building me as a person and helping me understand myself and my journey and life. No?
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely see that. And again, big kudos to you for taking on such a competitive field. And again, you're doing an amazing job. And the man to my right, Mr. Jabari Hall. Yes. So tell us a bit more about Jay Has Heart, your company.
Definitely. Could tell you a little bit about what pushed me as well into that craft. And first of all, amazing story, right? To just take a class and then boom, blossom into this big time actor. Fantastic work. For me, it was more of a pull that got me into speaking. So you mentioned that I was in IT. I was in IT for like 14 years. And here I was living in a condo, working from home, IT project manager. I was making buku bucks, so to speak. And I'm in a robe, right? I'm just like sitting there, like looking out my window. It's like, I don't feel like doing this anymore.
Jabari will call me at like 12 p.m.
Yeah.
Like on a regular Monday.
Because I'd finished my first meeting and I'm just like, I'm gonna watch TV now.
Yeah.
And make all this money. It was amazing. But oddly enough, I felt this energy. I felt this spirit kind of like pulling me away from IT, something that I've wanted to do since I was 9 years old. Yeah. And with that, it's weird. I started to think about, what is this energy that's pulling me and where is it pulling me to? And the more and more I spoke to folks, they kept on saying, you helped me out today. You helped my spirit today, and speaking kind of was birthed out of that. And I remember about 2 or 3 years ago, I was finishing up a meeting and I literally, heard this voice, and most people say they hear a voice and you would say, no, you didn't hear no voice. What voice you heard? What voice you heard? But I heard it and chills were down my skin. And that voice mentioned, the Holy Spirit mentioned, quite frankly, to my purpose is to empower people. Yeah. And for so long, I felt this pull towards doing something, and here it is. My answer was to empower people. So I molded and shaped Jay Has Heart to this empowerment company where I would empower students to be their best. And with that, I had to then be my best. So I did a lot of self-improvement, did a lot of classes on how to improve myself, and then turned it into social emotional learning for students. So I'll give you more information on Jay Has Heart, but that's really what pushed me or pulled me into speaking.
If everybody had noticed, there's like a huge ass poster of Jabari like in the back. And when he walks in, it looks like it's his event. I'm like, bro, why you coming here with that?
I'm just trying to live.
Earlier today, he's like, yo, Jonathan, I'm running late. I'm like, why? He's like, because I'm getting a poster. I'm like, what poster? Yeah. He comes in, I walk in, and there's merchandise there. I don't have merch. And you come here with merchandise now.
Every event I go to, I have to have merchandise.
Not this one.
I have to.
It's all good. Okay, so
I was about to give Jonathan hell because I was going in there putting my stuff and I see big poster Jabari. I'm like, damn, I don't get no shine and no love or nothing. Like, damn.
I don't have a poster. Shit.
I just came in and just bodied it. I was just like, I'm placing it there.
And I told you not to do it.
I know.
It's all good. Okay.
That's why we're friends, though. Forgive me.
Yeah, so you can hijack your friend. Yeah, my socks are mad high. I hope nobody minds my socks. Ashy. Cool, man. No, that's an amazing story. Yeah, and I think since I've known you for so long, you've always had this ambition about yourself that you always wanted more. So I'm not surprised that you're going out your way to do this. Yeah. And again, thank you for coming out here because again, it's crazy how we grew up together, 18 years old. Now at this age, we're still working together,
Absolutely.
Cool, man. So now, Jeremy, going back to acting now, right? Again, it's one of those difficult fields, but what would you say was the toughest hurdle that you experienced? Maybe it could have been the criticism of other people, getting acting gigs. What was the biggest hurdle that you've encountered so far?
First off, I want to say that all the hurdles made me who I am today. Yeah. So, like looking back, it's all about perspective for me, But the first hurdle was my mother. I'm just pointing at you because you.
Oh, because she could be your mom for today. She could be your mom today. Yeah. But
I was like, oh, where's his mom? We didn't meet her. I was like, what?
She didn't cut. I know, right?
I didn't know that.
Wait, thank you. But no, yeah, my family, they were just, because I just graduated from Penn State. My mother didn't graduate. She didn't finish getting her degree from college. the rest of my family are like lawyers and things like that. So then when I said I wanted to be an actor, they were like, "What? No, like you got a degree, use your degree." Like my mother came back with statistics like this many people don't make it in acting and stuff like that. She doesn't remember that, but I do. But it was just, and looking back, I understand because your parents want the best for you. They want to make sure that you're doing the right thing, and sometimes, if they weren't able to follow their dream and they were held back or something like that, then sometimes they kind of push it on you without knowing. So I don't blame her or anything. But it was just, that was one of the first hurdles. Just telling everybody, actually, because I'm telling everybody I'm going to make the Penn State football team.
Yeah.
So
when you get your hopes up, like and then they don't happen.
Exactly.
That's how I felt putting this event together. Like last night, the audio system wasn't working, and I'm like, damn, I don't know how I'm gonna work that out. But I got to throw the event, so I know how that feels.
Yeah. So it's like, so I'm going to college, and I say I'm gonna play football, and every time I come back, I'm still working out, I'm still trying out football, and that doesn't happen. And now I'm saying I'm gonna do acting. So you got to imagine what they're thinking. Like, oh, come on, Jeremy. Like, come on.
Another one.
Yeah, another one. Like, But
I'm sorry not to jump in.
That's okay. It's your show.
It's your show also.
So he's actually not sorry.
No, I am. I really am. No, I think criticism is one of those things that stops most of us.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, the older I get, I start to realize how unpredictable life is.
Yeah.
And I think when our parents tell us to do a certain thing, they're trying to give us the best bet in life.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all to protect you.
Yeah.
For me, I would say that's what my mother did. She gave me all the best resources possible, but she's also giving me the space to do whatever else I wanted.
Yeah.
She said, Jonathan, you become an attorney. I mean, I wanted to become an attorney before she even told me that. But at the same time, she always gave me the creative space to do things like a podcast. But I just think it's a matter of parents trying to prepare the kids as best as possible. I mean, I don't have children, but it sounds scary as hell to have kids and then and trying to prepare them for that. It's crazy. But let me ask you this: so you got that criticism.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with criticism? Criticism.
Back then.
Yeah, or just I would say, how did you handle it back then?
Back then, I was just at a point where I was working social work, and like everybody was 50, 60, 70 years old, still just coasting, just content with life. And I didn't want to be that. So I knew that I had to do something that was going to fulfill me, and I had to take a risk. And if I was going to fail, I was going to fail. So I just got to a point where, because to be honest, I went to college to satisfy my aunt and my mom. And I was like, okay, well, I could do this and parlay to football, whatever. Okay, I'll get a degree and make them happy. But it just got to a point where I can't keep doing what other people want me to do and not live my life. So I was just like, you know what? The criticism is going to come, but I have to give my all to this. And
I felt like, if I can jump into, I felt like when...
Please do. It's your show too. With your poster.
Oh, man. It's on the side. Come on. I mean, can I just live? I just want to live. That's it. But the question I had for you was...
Yeah.
And I forgot it. Laughing at all this stuff,
I shouldn't have did that. I know.
Oh, man. No, well, with football,
Yes.
your attempt at football, didn't work out. So I figure when you got the acting opportunity, you're like, I'm not gonna fail at this, right? This is my second chance at doing something that I want, and I'm gonna make it happen. I would think that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what it was too? Because I had that class and because I got the A and because I had fun and I did it, I thought acting was easier than what it was. So that's another reason why I did it. I was like, I got an A in acting class. I'm gonna be on TV. Like if I show you my first if I show you my first journal and stuff like that, it's like, I'm gonna have a movie in the next year, be name on a poster and all this stuff. I didn't plan it out that well, but I still kept going. And I took my wins when I got them. And I, like on the podcast we did, sometimes you don't allow yourself to be a beginner and to really learn and to embrace the journey. So I had to do that. So I had to take class and start slow and learn and network and just allow myself to be a beginner, allow myself to fail, allow myself to just embrace my journey and not compare myself to other people and take the criticism and keep going and, just things of that nature.
Yeah, the journey, like everybody says, sometimes it's so cliche, but it's so true. Yeah. And it really builds you along the way. Because I'm telling you, I have to keep mentioning the audio problem that I had earlier today. But it taught me. I can't tell you. Like last night, it was crazy. And then this morning, last night I could barely sleep, and I'm like, I'm stressing out about audio for a podcast. Like I was stressed about worse things. But the way I looked at it is like I made a promise to everybody here, and I want to deliver. But along the way, I don't want to like embellish about myself, but I think I handled it well. I didn't. Yeah.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
Like I didn't go crazy. Normally, I feel like when I was younger, I would have like screamed at a couple people. But it's all good. It worked out. But let's go back to you, man. So, as a speaker, man, so what would you say? You know, when you started your company, what has been the biggest hurdle along your way?
I've had a lot of big hurdles, quite frankly.
Give me one, though.
Give you one. Luckily, I have one prepared. Quite frankly, I'll go to probably my first hurdle. My first hurdle, after deeming myself a speaker, was becoming a paid speaker. Having folks to buy into my ability to speak into them. And I remember it was something that was vital, something that was pertinent to my survival. Oh, thank you. He finishes all my sentences. It was pertinent to me cementing my belief as a speaker. And I remember I would talk to folks. I would call people up. I'm like, hey, Jonathan, right? You know, I'm Jabari. I want to speak. And I'm like, you're like, who are you? I'm Jabari. I want to speak, man. I'm ready to speak. And they're like, nah, not up in here, right? And it's like, I just want the opportunity to speak. And I would have to battle to even speak for free. Folks would be like, no, we can't even get you to speak for free. They would say, you know, you have any references? And I'm like, it's not a job that I'm applying for. I'm just like trying to be your speaker. So I had that journey. I had that hurdle that I had to climb, that I had to jump over. And 4 or 5 months in, I remember I was in Chicago, and I was at a barbershop. Shout out to Longevity Barbershop in Inglewood, South Chicago. KC, yeah, I travel. I just go. But really, I went there because there was a lot of gun violence in South Chicago a couple years back in the summer, and I wanted to just go out there and just speak. I was just going out there and speaking to brothers, and they're looking at me like, "Who you, dog?" And I'm just like, "I'm Jabari, man. I'm here to speak to you," because that was just what I was about. I'm that guy to go up to you. But anyway, and I remember speaking at this barbershop, talking to the community members about being better at their lives and changing their lives. And there was a guy there, and he started to videotape me, started to record me, and I'm just like, you know, why is he recording me? But he told me it was because he really believed what I was saying. And he and I exchanged information just because I was so ecstatic someone recorded me. 3 months later, this was in August. 3 months later, in about November or so, he had an event at an IHOP in like the more southern part of Chicago. And he was like, man, I just want you to speak to my people. Just let them know where you come from, your story, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, sure, man, I'll do it. He recorded me, so I got you. And when I got there, I spoke, and he's like, hey, man, you want to get paid? I'm like, yeah, I want to get paid. Yeah, I want to get paid, right? It was the first time I heard a question like that, right? I was like, yeah, I want to get paid. And he gave me my first check. It's about November 6th, a couple years back. And my first check for speaking was $50. And
What'd you do with those $50?
Huh?
What'd you do with those $50?
What did I do? I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know. I looked at the check for a long time, because I wanted to become a paid speaker, and no one ever says how much were you paid when you become a paid speaker. It's like I wanted to become a paid speaker, so I was deemed a paid speaker at that point. And I remember just looking at it and thinking like, wow, I'm finally over this first hurdle. For 5 months, I'm like working. I'm finally over this first hurdle. And what that first hurdle did for me, though, is caused me to look at any other hurdle as not a big hurdle, as just a hurdle, or even just walking through it, man. I walk through fire. I don't care, right? So, oh yeah, you know that. But it ended up leading to me a year later becoming a $5,000 paid speaker, right? So I exponentially grew from that. So that hurdle right there just catapulted me to higher heights. But that was my biggest hurdle.
No, that's awesome. And I do want to share one of mine in terms of becoming an attorney. You know, when you're in school, it's a lot different from actually practicing, right? And obviously, right, everyone's like, of course, Jonathan, what's that like? No, but when you're in law school, it's very theoretical. Like they teach you about the Constitution, all these amendments. But I remember the first time, my first year when I started working, and then I was actually standing in court with people next to me, with like people trying to throw my clients in jail. I told myself like, shit. This is not like school. This is not like school. And like in school, you work through exercises, and you know, and I did a couple of clinics in law school where like they try to prepare you for practice, but there's nothing like that. There's nothing like going to Rikers Island and then seeing your clients in there. But again, my biggest hurdle was transitioning from practice. From you know the theory to the actual practice. And I want to and I got the idea from this, right? I've had ankle surgery a couple times, right? The first time I got ankle surgery, I spoke to the doctor that morning, and he looked a little sleepy. He was yawning.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I'm like, are you okay, doctor? And it was a Monday, so it was a whole weekend. I'm like, maybe I should have scheduled this shit for like Tuesday, right? So he's in the week. But anyway, I saw him. He was all sleepy, and maybe this could have been like a routine procedure for him. It was a quick half-hour surgery, right? And it could have been a quick routine surgery for him. But I was thinking to myself, look, man, I need you to be the best damn doctor on earth right now. You know, so that's the mentality that I take when I'm with my clients is that, look, if I'm tired, if I'm hungry, that's not an excuse. I still have to be my best. I can't tell you how many times I've had a long day in court and I'll like sneak off to like the staircase and I'll like just meditate for a little while or just try to calm down for a little bit because I don't want to go out there with somebody who's half-assing their job. That's the way I look at it right now. I'm always thinking to myself, if I'm on an operating table, I really want that doctor to care about what he's doing. I really want that doctor to make sure he knows what he's doing. And that's the mentality that I take. But it was hard for me to gain that mentality. You know, when you're a kid, you're studying school. The only experience is like in the books. But then once you get to court and you see how crazy it is, that's when you start gaining that responsibility where you say, wow, this is real. And that's one big reason why I started this is because I really want everybody to become their absolute best in whatever you're doing. You'd be so amazed. Like today, the guy who helped me with my audio problem at B&H, I'm going to go give him like a gift card. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And he took pride in his job. He was like, yo, you got to do this. He drew me a diagram. He sent me an email, like colored it, all this stuff. So, and I really appreciated that, you know, really appreciate it. And there's just one final example. One time I had to buy a hard drive for all this editing that I do. And I walked into a Best Buy, and I'm not knocking any retail workers, of course, because I just bigged up somebody now. But, you know, nobody wanted to help me. And I just went on my phone, searched Amazon, and I got everything that I wanted without the assistance of that person. And then as I was walking out, I told myself, if I was a manager of this place, like what use do I need of that person? You know? And that's not to degrade anybody, but in whatever you do, you have to do it to your absolute best. Whatever you're doing, because your reputation follows you. Yeah. Your reputation follows you, man. Like if you, like, it follows you, right? Because ultimately at the end of the day, it's about how well you do your job. And then afterwards, more things are going to open to you because people know how diligent and how great you are in doing something. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. and shout out to a lot of my colleagues here who like really did. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. I really appreciate it. You know, I would say that like they're really family for all the things that we go through. They're a big family, and a lot of them had a big part in my growth as an attorney, as a human being. So I really thank you all. Really, really thank you all. Okay, so let's continue going. Sorry. All right. So now, Jerry, so you told us about the hurdles, handling criticism in your career, man, because you made so much progress so far. What has been the most smartest decision you made for your career?
Doing it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Clap it up for that.
Yeah, just like I said, just having faith in myself, having faith that it's gonna work out, and just following the dream and just not letting, because you get a lot of naysayers and all of this stuff about you can't make it and blah 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 blah. But I think that was one of the things for me, just doing it. Just starting.
But when you're doing it, just doing it, that's a lot. I feel like that's the problem that a lot of people encounter. So what was the first step that you said, I'm doing this? Was it like the first class that you took? The first audition that you went on?
Yeah. You know, there was a tough time for me trying to book my first TV role. Like my first role was Blue Bloods in 2014, and it took me 6 months of auditioning to book my first TV role. Like for the same show. There were other auditions, but it was 6 months of going in for Blue Bloods for like different roles. And then just, you know, you get that doubt in your head. Okay, maybe I'm not good enough. You know, maybe I can't do this. Maybe I am barking up the wrong tree or whatever. But also networking.
Yeah, you're talking about.
Yeah. So I also knew the casting associate. So she would tell me, the producers and the directors, they like you. They're just trying to find the perfect spot for you. They're trying to fit you into the show where you fit best at. If I didn't know that, imagine the turmoil and everything that I'm going through in my head. So also networking was one of the smartest decisions that I made, because you need people in your industry to help you, and you need people to share like what you're going through, you know, to support you, to give you advice, to be your accountability partners, to give you the insight in the business. You need mentors. So like networking was another thing that really helped me. That was a smart move. And just like sticking it out through that tough time. Yeah. Because that was a lot of auditions and a lot of producers and a lot of people, you know, and going into the room and seeing other actors who book jobs, like, why'd you bring me in here if he's gonna get the role? But you know, but it was good because I got to, because in this business, you're gonna get told no more than you get told yes. So like, just yeah, amen, right? Yeah. But you're gonna go on so many auditions you're gonna really want, and it's not, you're just not gonna get, but you gotta keep going, you gotta keep pushing, you gotta keep practicing. Like I'm still in class now, even though I booked all these work and did all this work, still in class, I'm still learning, I'm learning new techniques, I'm trying to grow, I'm working on my growth as an artist, as an actor. You know, you always wanna keep, to me, the journey to mastery is the journey itself. Yeah. You know, just what you learn in that journey towards mastery.
But it's tough going along that journey. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, it is tough. It is definitely tough.
It's tough, right?
And that's why you need the support. That's why you need the people. Like just being here. You know, you bringing me here and just the energy. Oh yeah, you see the
The suit's a little too tight.
But yeah, you need the support, and just sharing my story and sharing with other people, and also reading. Reading helps me a lot too. Yeah. You learn about other people's stories. You learn about other people's journey and the trials and tribulation that they went through. And you know, you're not in this by yourself. Everybody else went through it. Other people got fired. Other people had long auditions where they didn't book anything. They had droughts and things like that. So reading also helps me as well.
Yeah. I think just to add on the networking part, the thing about networking is that it kind of ties into your reputation, right? Yeah. Because I noticed that like when my job hires people, I was on the committee for hiring people, and I noticed that when we interview people, who you know has a big effect on it. And it's not because of the connections or looking at it negatively, but it's like if somebody can vouch for you, you are less of a risk to a company, right? Because a company they got to train you. They got to make sure that you know how to do right. They got to make sure that you don't mess up on the job. So if somebody says, hey, listen, I know somebody who worked very hard in law school, they did X, Y, Z, come on board. That gives a company, that gives people a lot more kind of like faith in you that you'll be able to come in and actually do a good job. And the way you do that is by networking. You go around, because I'm sure when you were networking, I also know that you interned a lot also. So I remember one thing about Jeremy is that when he first started, I saw a picture of him holding a boomstick. Oh. And for most of you that don't know, a boomstick it's a mic that somebody holds like this to get the sound. And then when I saw that, like, I had so much respect for you when I saw that, because I know you wanted to be an actor, but that wasn't acting. You were doing grunt work, in my opinion, and you could correct me on that. But yeah. I mean,
it makes for a good story.
Yeah. The reason why I say that is because I feel like a lot of times when we want to do something, we try to get too Hollywood. Yeah. Like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. But the reason why I like that picture about you, because it says, listen, I'm here to be in the film industry. I'm here to be a linchpin in this industry, and I'm going to do everything in my power to do it. So when you were on set doing that, I'm pretty sure people respect you for that, and that's a big reason why you're here right now.
That was a commercial.
He's like winning. He's winning. He's winning. Right now.
You got a poster. You good, bro. You got a poster, bro. Like, you good.
But I did intern. I did intern at a casting agency, and I learned so much being behind the scenes and things like that. You know, and that the one thing about networking, people always try to, oh, what can this person do for me? That you should be of service to people first, and give service. So that's why I did the internship, and now those people call me back for auditions, and they call me for help and things like that. You know, so that's one thing I want to say about networking is just being of service to other people.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Mr. Jabari Hall.
Yes, sir. Can I just add on to, well, ask me the question and then I'll add on. Now, I wanted to add, I'm here and folks may be looking at me as what is he doing? I'm taking notes. My man is preaching. He had a quote there. He got quotes. He got talking about the journey, talking about, keeping it going. And grunt work. I'm taking notes. I'm hopefully there are folks in here that are taking notes because this is a guy, like Jonathan mentioned, and like he mentioned, just took a class and then, now it's like acting everywhere, doing everything. So I'm taking notes. One thing you mentioned was service to people, and I just wanted to add on to that. Like, in any work that you do, look what you do. You do service, right? Any work that you do, I think when you enter the space or enter the work of service, when you do it, when you enter the space and you want to be of service to people, you want to really genuinely help people, that's when you receive at the end. I'm not going to go all biblical on you because I can, but that's what you'll receive at the end. I mean, you'll receive more at the end. So it's definitely good that I echo you on what you said about being of service to people. Right. So I just wanted to add on to what you said.
Yeah, that's cool. So tell us about the biggest hurdle that you faced while you've been on your journey, man. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I asked it already. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is normally I would edit that out. Like they ain't gonna see that, but we're live, so they can see that. Thank you for catching that.
It's all good.
Okay, so. I'm so glad everyone here knows me personally. Okay. Cool.
Kind of the biggest move I made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What has been the smartest move that you made in your career?
Teamwork. Make a dream work. I think the smartest thing I've done. I do a lot of smart things, people. I've been bred that way, quite frankly. But no, the smartest thing I've done is become what I preach. So it takes an everyday practice for me to become this person, this light, this beacon of positivity. When I'm around folks, I force myself to smile, to greet, to say hello, to just be someone who's positive. So and I'll add more at the end, but when I wake up in the morning, I say these self-affirmations. All right, my first thing to do is pray. Self-affirmations. I read, I write in my journal, and I do things to improve me, improve my spirit, and then go out into this world. This world has so much things that it can break you down with, that if I build myself up as a brick house before I walk out those doors, nothing's going to tear me down. Oh, wind. I'm not worried about you, bro. There's only one man that can strike and bring me down. But other than that, when I walk, it shakes because I've become this person. So I was looking at you. I didn't notice you had freaking socks on, man. I had socks on earlier. Anyway, but that was the smartest thing. It's because people constantly would question me on, so what do you do in times of trouble? You're giving me recommendations on steps to take on how to, find this particular solution. And, friends of mine would question me and foes and people who I don't know would question me. So I'm always ready for it because I am what I preach. I am what I expect of others. I focus on self-empowerment for me, and I preach self-empowerment for folks. So the smartest thing I've done was become what I preach.
Cool. All right, Jeremy. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Then, all right, man. I always love to ask these questions towards the end of the interviews, but how do you define success, man?
Can you let Jabari go first?
That's good. I like that.
That's a good move. You know what? I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Jabari.
Yeah, define success.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I have a seminar on success. Of course I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I truly do. It's called 10 Secrets to Success, and we did it together.
We did. So it's our program.
Yeah.
Sir.
I came up with all the material, but anyway. Actually, what we did was at Penn State. We spoke a couple years back at Penn State, and the title was Perception, and we talked
right.
about perception. And then I came on after.
Who did all the video production?
I mean,
Who did all the production?
whose pictures back there? Whose posters back there? Can we not forget this? But honestly, success. I have a seminar on success, really educating folks on the 10 secrets to success. So success to me is it's a relative term, but success to me is I don't want to give up my own definition, but it's truly you going for something, right, at your own pace. But that pace has to be a maximum focus. That pace has to come with a maximum focus. That pace has to come. That place success has to be reached with maximum focused. It has to be reached with a relentless determination, a relentless positive attitude that you can achieve it. So whatever it is that you deem as successful for you, that is success. Someone could be president and they deem that as success, but someone doesn't want to be president, then they don't deem that as success. They can be, I want to make 6 figures. Now I've become successful. So I help folks understand that success is so relative to you, to your being, but you achieve it by going at a maximum pace, with a maximum focus, and a relentless positive attitude to get there. So hopefully I answered the question.
All right, bro. Try to top that, man. Try to top that, because
I agree.
sometimes you gotta hang it up. Sometimes you gotta hang it up.
That was awesome. But if I can add on to it a little bit.
Add on to it, I agree.
Yeah. You want to bring your post up here too?
Oh man. No, wait. If I can add on to success a little bit, I'm okay.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. You can take my time.
Yeah. You guys. I have to speak this way because I have these like dreamboat gentlemen here,
no, come on.
and you know, well, I add all that at the end. But success, we're folks here. It's a live event, so there are a lot of folks that are sitting here wondering about their own success, and here we are, folks who've accomplished X amount of things and deemed ourselves successful to a degree. I think one thing about success is understanding that you're already successful. If you're already successful, now how do you attain more success? Because if you say first that I'm not successful, then everything that you try to accomplish, every little thing, you won't see that as success. You'll see that as just a little bit more, but you aren't reaching that. Deem yourself successful already, and then now how do I attain more? And how do I attain the type of success that will make me the most comfortable, that will make me the most happy, that will allow me to inspire others? So I think that's one key thing to remember. You're successful already. You do great things. You're out there working your butts off. So with that, when you operate in that space, when you operate from success, you'll attain more. So I just wanted to add that. Thank
you. Oh, you don't want to? It's too much.
No, it is true. I do think it's relative, and I agree with everything that he's saying. It's 100% the truth. Because only you can determine what's success to you, and when you start trying to let other people tell you what success is, then you keep chasing and you keep trying to please everybody, and you keep you never feel happy or you never feel grateful and all these things because you're trying to achieve someone else's dream or a definition of success. So that's why I totally agree with what he's saying. Yeah. Is my mic? Oh, okay.
You want to yeah.
I thought you cut my mic off.
No. I would have cut off. I should have cut off him, but. Love it. No, I'll give you a story. One time I was representing a client, And while I was interviewing him, he said that he was getting his GED and he was super proud about it. I mean, this guy was like celebrating. He said, listen, I just went through this program. I just got my GED. And the joy in this man's face was amazing. And I think most people would have said, a GED, what the hell is that? You need to strive for more. But when somebody has a difficult life, when somebody doesn't have the same opportunities as everybody else, yeah, that's a hell of an accomplishment. And at that moment, that's when I realized that success is really relative. It's really whatever you wanted to make it. Because when he was telling me about that GED, his life would become a lot better. And I also thought about I knew the path that he took to get there, you know, and that wasn't easy for him. And a lot of times we tend to judge what success is based on other people. You know, that person's doing this person's doing that. And then you bring your own value down when you compare yourself too much. So it's really, but again, I'm saying that, but I do that all the time. I stay comparing myself. And I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. Everyone, it's like, I think it's natural for us to compare ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like natural. It's part of our bodies. And I think, you know, we're kind of ingrained to do that. When you're in school, we get graded, right? When you're in law school, they place us on a curve, which means that the professor can only give out a certain amount of grades. You know, they can only give out like 2 A's or 3 A's. That means no matter how good you do, somebody's going to get a B, somebody's going to get a C. So you're being compared every single day. When you go for a job, you're being compared. You're being compared all the damn time. But it's so important to always separate yourself from that comparison. But it's a lot harder than you think. But it's a matter of exercise. It's something you have to continue.
I truly just want to add on to it. I don't need my. I don't. So.
No. I mean, this is the open conversation. I don't want to keep everybody here all night, though. But yeah, no, it's relative. Yeah.
I love this. This is awesome. This is awesome. No, I forgot I was gonna say that, man. You were speaking about the guy with the GED, but I forgot I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
I quite.
That's all good.
Can I talk?
Yeah, you
Interrupt,
bro.
Okay. I was about the comparison thing. Like, as actors, we do that a lot. And I did it a lot in my career. Just compare myself to other people who booked roles that I wanted, or they had a certain amount of success that I wanted. But then I had to realize I have my own journey that's different than their journey, you know? And I had to realize what they've been through. They might have been doing it longer. They might have had they might have more struggles. You know, you never know when you try to compare yourself to somebody, what they've gone through. And you have to live your own journey and be patient with your journey and just keep focusing on you, you know, keep focusing on your journey. Because as soon as you start comparing yourself, that's it.
Yeah, I wanted to add on. Definitely, I think you're in your own lane, Jeremy. I think. Did you turn on my mic too?
No, I turned it up. Don't worry, man. Turn it up.
No, you're definitely in your own lane, and I see that every day as you progress. I was going to add on to both. Add on to what you both have said in terms of comparison. You mentioned something about it being a hard thing, and I understand by us being it being ingrained in us. We've grown up that way, being compared in every facet of our lives and for everything that we're going to achieve. But quite honestly, with everything in your life, if you are to continue to say that it's difficult, then that's what it will be. So with comparisons, there's a point where you just say, okay, I'm going to decide not to compare. And if every day you wake up and you say, I'm going to decide not to compare, then that decision becomes easier. And if you look at it in small chunks, in anything that you do, if you look at it in small chunks, small decisions, things become easier for you. So I like to tell folks, it's not hard. Nothing in life is hard. Nothing in life it's not hard. It's your way of looking at it, your perception, but it's your decision about it. So decide that you shouldn't compare yourself with anyone. You're Jeremy. You're not anyone else that was in that room with you. And you excelled because you realize you're Jeremy. So realize who you are and try not to compare yourself. And then one more thing, if you do decide to compare yourself, and that person is more successful, ask yourself, how do I become that person? Or how do I become their level that I see? And not why are they there and why am I not here? No, what did you do that got you there, and how can I do that? And then go higher. Use comparison that way rather than it being through a negative lens. So.
Yeah.
And-
Like I said.
Okay. I read a quote. I was trying to think about it, but then I remembered. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And when I read that quote, it just hit me. And that's what I think about comparison. It's the thief of joy. You know, so what I do also, I try to do things that I'm grateful for every day. You know, whether it be with acting, whether it be with life, whether it just be waking up, whether it be whatever, people around me. I try to do 10 things that I'm grateful for so that I don't focus on the negative or don't focus on what I'm lacking or just things like that. And I believe that when you're grateful for things, you open the door for other things to come through.
Yeah, for sure. And just to play devil's advocate, but I think you have to compare yourself in a healthy way, right? Because I think sometimes it's not a matter of, sorry. The problem with comparing yourself is that it stops you from doing things. And I'll give you an example from what I'm doing. I could have easily said, no, this podcast is not going to work because there are tons of there's like 100,000 podcasts out there. So I could have easily told myself, who the hell am I? Why should I do a podcast? Who am I to come in here and tell people that I'm doing something? This guy has like 1 billion subscribers. He does this for a living. Who am I? And had I compared myself too much, right? I don't think I would have had everybody here right now. So I saw the comparison and it didn't stop me, but I compare myself in many different ways, right? I try to make sure that the quality of my productions are as best as possible. I listen to them. I say, okay, he does this well. He probably uses this program. He uses that camera. They use these lights. They hung up these lights. So I compare myself in the sense of, okay, I got to step my game up to make this thing successful. I got to make sure that I fix the damn audio that wasn't working so you can hear it. So you have to compare, you have to compare yourself in a healthy way, but also comparison also leads to somewhat of a competition. And again, it's, sometimes you have to balance contradictory thoughts all the time. You have to be very competitive sometimes. I think being competitive is good. Telling yourself like, I'm going to be the best at something. No one's going to do it like me. That's something you have. And I think you have to rely on that sometimes. But at the same time, don't get too arrogant. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'm the shit. Nobody can beat me at this. But try to be the best version of yourself. I know that sounds cheesy as hell, but you have to use competition. You have to be competitive in a way, but at the same time, collaborate with people. Collaborate with people. I mean, we grew up, remember, we were like 18 years old, like doing, in college, doing dumb stuff. And now we're in our 30s, like doing amazing things. So that's how you really compare yourself. But at the same time, you collaborate with people that you grew up with. Okay. All right. So we're almost about to wrap up right now. I don't want to keep everybody here all night, but I'm going to give each gentleman here 2 minutes just to close off. And then so we could just wrap up. Okay. So Jabari, do you want to go first?
Sure. So it was awesome. Thanks so much. I don't know if I'm going to get an opportunity to say it again or speak again. So I'm going to say thank you right now, Mr. Arias. Yeah. Help me out because I get turned up. But there were some things I wanted to mention. Thanks. Again, so thank you very much. Thank you for Jeremy. Thank you for everyone being here. I'm really appreciative of that. I wanted to say something to you all, including you, Jonathan, and you, Jeremy. Is that the same person, the person that you see up here, over here, the two, again, dreamboats guys over here that you see, that ladies may gawk at, hey, look now, let me open up my vocab. But this chocolate phenom that's here, that's still with these dreamboats over here. We are the same people that we were in college, so to speak, but we're different in terms of the spirit that lies within us. We're different in terms of the beings that we've become. So why do I say that? It's because you see folks. There are folks that you emulate. There are folks that you idolize. There are folks that you want to be, and you ask yourself constantly, how did they get there? Why are they there? Oh, they got so famous, and you see haters, and you're sometimes a hater, and you marvel at them, but recognize who was John Legend before John Legend. John Legend. Who was Barack before 2009? Barack, right? He was still the same person, so to speak. So understand that those people that you see that are up there just made a shift in their way of thinking about themselves that elevated them to the position that you see them in. So instead of idolizing and or hating on someone or wondering how did they get there, start looking at yourself and say, I can be there. I'm here, but what do I have to change to be there? So who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? What thread was sewn to design the fabric that is you? Who are you? Ask yourself these questions, and when you do, you recognize that you're made in His image. You're made in this light. You're made in perfection. You're made to be more than a conqueror. You're made to accomplish what has already been written. You ever been eating something, right, or not eating something? You see, and it's your plate. Say this is your plate over there. It's Thanksgiving dinner or something like that, and it's your plate. And somebody else come and get your plate. You're like, that's my plate. What you doing getting my plate? It's my chicken, my turkey. Get my stuff, right? My tofu.
For the vegans in the
My
house.
tofu for my vegetarians.
For the vegans in the house. Sorry.
That's yours. So recognize that there is something in your path, in your destiny, that's yours. And you have to go out there and get it. And it's as simple as that. And as you realize that, and as you go along this journey, the hurdles that you hear us talk about, you'll experience. But knowing that that plate that you want to get to, the plate that's yours that nobody can touch, you're going to jump over that hurdle. You're going to jump over that fire, that gap. You're going to jump over the Grand Canyon because none of it is going to matter because you know that is yours. So recognize that, and you will attain whatever level of success, the things we're talking about here, you will attain any level of mastery. Because when you are determined to accomplish something, you're going to do anything necessary to accomplish it. Anything necessary. You have a child, and I'm going to be short again. I'm not going to take too long. But you have a child. You have a child who may be giving you a challenge, and in the adolescent stage, they're giving you challenges, and you're wondering what to do with them. But you're determined to say that my child is going to be great, or I'm going to work this out, or they're not going to be on the street. You're determined as a mom or dad. You're determined as a friend. You're determined to help this friend out. That determination, use it. Understand it in this context, bring it to a different context, which is the context that you need to use to attain success, and do it. And do it. You're already determined in so many different places. So use that determination that you've had in many places to you accomplishing what you need to accomplish and mastering the art of you. So that's what I wanted to add. Can I add something else? Yes, I'm serious. What I do is self-empowerment, and what I do is I help folks to understand at the end of the day, and yes, we want to leave, but I don't want anyone to leave without being different than how they entered. If you leave different, then even if you're here till midnight, wow, think of yourself as wow. I'm a different person walking out of here, no matter what time was invested here. And again, time is invested here. So hopefully these gentlemen, us, were able to inspire you that much that when you walk out the door, you're somebody different. I do self-empowerment. I'm going to do a little plug real quick. Find me on JabariHall.com.
Yeah, you got a poster. Like, they're going to see it. You don't need to plug no more. Like,
but quite frankly, I mean, I think I'm so thankful. I think you guys are going to be great walking out of here. Thank you, Jonathan, for the opportunity to be on your podcast.
Thank you. All right. Jeremy, any parting words?
Yeah, I would just like to read some quotes that I have in my phone.
Yeah, go ahead. Turn you up a little bit.
Turn it up.
Just
Turn it down.
No, up.
Up.
Yeah.
Up. Yeah. The first one. And if you feel anything that comes to you, please say something.
You
No.
don't need to give him that.
Okay. Because I think he could. Okay, this is the first quote. Faith moves the limits your mind creates. You got anything?
Are you doing like a game? Like you give them a quote?
I can do it.
Please do.
Wait, in the interest of time, listen, guys. We should have did this early. We should have planned it. That would have been great, but you can be for like 12 o'clock with this guy.
Okay.
We're different now.
Yes. A lot of people that could grow in here.
You're right. But
Yeah.
I know it's a school night. It's 8:33.
Good Friday tomorrow.
I'm on a schedule. It's Good Friday, and I want to make sure I meet my deadlines. All right.
Okay. Well, I'll repeat the quote again.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Faith moves the limits your mind creates. Another one, commitment. You have to believe in your purpose. Truth is, we all doubt ourselves, but you have to have the commitment. If you believe in your purpose, you can survive the most challenging times because God, the universe, your will, whatever you believe in is on your side. If you don't believe in your own greatness, no one else will. You're limited only by your doubts, your fears, and your desire to fit in rather than to stand out. Another one, be miserable or motivate yourself. Whatever has to be done is your choice. Another one. And another one. Every experience is a potential life experience. If you don't understand it at the time, each struggle in the present is preparing you for something in the future.
Bars.
Bars.
You want to?
I'm like itching. I'm itching. I'm getting hot. I just want to say something.
All right, we'll play a game. You do 3 more quotes.
Let the cipher begin.
You're right. You do 3 more quotes, and then you like 5 seconds though.
All right, 6.
6. Good.
What?
Sit back. It's gonna come, man.
Okay, this is another one. Fall forward. Use obstacles to your advantage. When failure happens, use it. Seize the moment. What did you learn from it? How can you apply it to your life? How can you grow through this? How can you use it to your advantage? Instead of getting down on yourself, doubting yourself, feeling sorry for yourself, turn it to your advantage because life is going to speed on without you.
So it's a perfect quote, perfect set of sentences there about failure. And what's interesting about failure is that we look at failure as such a negative thing. And most folks would say, don't look at failure as a negative thing. Look at it as a positive thing. Everybody failed on his way to success. But it's true. Right? It's true. And you have to train yourself. This is a muscle like none else. You have to train it. You just don't train those guns. You train this. You train this. No, nothing against you. I'm hyping you up, baby. Come on now, you winning over here. So you have to train this, and by training this, it's you recognizing how do you deal with failure. Some people might say, you know what, I'm going to ignore failure, and they're fine. But some people, what I do if I failed, I literally scream. I scream as loud as I can. I get all of that energy, because we're all about energy. I get all of that energy out of my spirit, and then when I'm welcoming back. Are those questions? It's what went wrong here? What can I learn from here? What can I get better from here? And each and every time it happens, I get better and better and better. And each and every failure, whether it's a massive failure or a small failure, I do it. And I look at failure much different than when I first started out because I do that every single time.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
and about commitment. No, seriously, no, I'm serious now.
That was a joke.
No, you are joking. No, because I really got to wrap up. I don't want to waste everybody's time. But okay, so we're about to wrap up right now. We're about that time right now. And again, I really have to thank everybody for coming. I really love everybody in here, even though I just met you for today. But just your time is important, and I want to make sure that I don't waste it. And I really cherish your time. And Jabari, thank you very much for coming out, man. Appreciate you so much. Can everybody give Jabari a round of applause, please? Yes. Yeah. Jeremy, my man, Jeremy Burnnett, thank you so much for coming out. Can everybody please give Jeremy a round of applause? For people who want to follow what you're doing, man, you want to let them know where they can follow you, your website, Instagram.
My website is jeremyburnetactor.com, but follow me on Instagram, Jeremy Burnnett, the number 1. That's my Instagram.
Cool. And you got a poster. So you good. You gotta post it. Okay, no, for real, we gotta wrap up. And I just want to close off with the third reason why I started this whole thing. You know, the first reason is that I wanted to help people. Second reason is that I wanted to expose new work. And the third reason is that at this point in my life, the only thing I want to do is leave amazing, positive, lasting work. That's the only thing I want to do. Most of you know me, right? And the past couple of years have been very difficult for me. It has been a turning point in my life. And the reason why, as you all know, is that my younger brother, Jonathan Arias, he passed away in a car accident, back in 2014. And if anybody has lost anybody, you know how bad that is. It's one of the worst feelings you could ever feel, right? And at that moment, I mean, I'm just happy to even be here, smiling and like actually doing this. And if you would have told me that I would be doing this right now, I would have highly questioned it. And then when I went through that situation, being in the hospital, seeing all the pain that my mother went through, seeing all the fear that my younger brother went through, seeing the anguish that my aunt went through, my little cousin, it was a trying moment. It's extremely difficult, And I just have to give a shout out to my family for being so strong for me and for each other along the way. Let me tell you, a mother's love is amazing. And I love you so much. I love you so much. And and another reason why I'm doing this is because I know how hard that was on you. But the best thing that I can do is just tell you that we can't explain what happened, but what you're doing, we all appreciate. I couldn't do this without you. There's no way I could have did this without you. You're taking care of me so much. And for me to be here is just like you are my angel on earth. And I love you so much, ma. I love you so much, ma. Thank you. Thank you. And to my younger brother, Lee, my little brother right there, I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, Lee, because nobody, I was 29 when I experienced that. You experienced that when you were 11 years old. I can't imagine how scary that was for you. I can't imagine how scary that was for you. But you never acted out. You're still going to school. You're still an amazing kid. And I see all the potential in you. You understand? And again, when I'm in court all the time and I see these little kids, I see you and I see my little cousin Anthony all the time. And when I see them, I get so fearful because I know what could happen to them. So when I see you guys, this is the reason why I'm doing this stuff. Because I want to make sure that you're getting these positive messages when you're growing up, because what you listen to is really going to nurture your mind, and when I was 14, 15, I didn't understand none of that. But you, Anthony, you guys are in a unique position because you experienced death so young in your life. Your experience on death really matters on when it happened. I was a lot more mature when it happened. My mother was a lot more mature. Being 11 and experiencing something like that, I can't imagine how scared I would have been. So I can't tell you how much I love you, Lee. I can't tell you how much I love you, Anthony, for just staying strong for everybody else. And can everybody please give them a round of applause, please? Okay. And again, and a big reason why I started this because I'm only one person, but I want to scale the amount of people that I can help. But I always started with you, Lee, and I started with you, Anthony. Because you guys have so much potential. But if you do, listen, it takes one mistake for you not to get another one in life. Just one. And a lot of times when you're young, you feel invincible. Like you can do anything. A lot of us make it. But Dijon didn't. He didn't. One mistake. So whatever you do, always think about it. And I know you didn't expect me to put you on the spot. I set you up. Now when I be calling him, maybe he on his phone and Instagram playing the games, he doesn't listen to me as much. Yeah. So you know what? One big reason why I did this live is for you. And for you and for the rest of my family. Okay? There's so many people in here that I love, man. Kwesi, you told me about your brother. I want to name everybody right now, but again, I'm on the time constraints. But that's why I'm doing it. It's just I just want to leave. The only thing I want to do is leave good work out. That's the only thing I want to do. I don't want to cause any pain. I don't want to the only thing I want to do is good work. And the way I was able to do it is through this podcast. The conversation was sitting down with somebody and having a conversation with all the social media and phones out there. It's very easy to lose that. So this is why I do the podcast, is because I get to sit down with amazing people and have a conversation. Tell me about your work. What motivated you? What do you think of success? Because really, it's our turn out here. for everybody who's doing work, you know. And I want to give a big shout out to my colleagues and my coworkers because the work that they do every single day amazes me all the time. Like, it's tough being a public defender. It's very difficult. Along with the stigma, the work, and just the stress. Every time I see them in court, I'm like so proud of them to see what they're doing. So everybody, can you please give a round of applause to them? Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. And a couple of last shout outs is I want to shout out the people that really helped me. Valerie, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So much. She was the one who told me, Jonathan, I think you need to like decorate the place a little bit, put some lights. Because I was ready just to have these lights. And that sink we wanted to cover, but I said, I got to fix the audio first. So, so I left it out. Another shout out, of course, to the center, the Children's Art Carnival Center for Arts. Again, they're doing amazing work and they're trying to open this place up again to do things like this, creative work, to inspire and motivate people. So whenever you get a chance, I'm going to send everybody an email. Check them out. They'll be holding these types of programs all the time, okay? And the final person I want to shout out is Andre Garrett, who's all the way in the back, okay? But he's the guy who really helped me put this together. He's the executive producer of this show, of this whole podcast. He helped me come up with a name. Thank you so much. And again, like I really like, I can't. It's crazy. This is such an amazing moment. Like it's surreal right now. Normally I don't do nothing for my birthday, but this is the first year that I did something, and I figured let me just share my work with what I'm doing. So I can't say this enough, but like I can't. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna lie. But don't think that. You thought I was gonna cry? Nah, ain't gonna happen. No. But I really thank everybody so much for coming out. Like for you to give me your time, I appreciate that tremendously. Like when you get older, you start to value your time. Like, I ain't got time to waste. I know everybody appreciates that. So for everybody to give me $15, thank you. It's not gonna go to me, by the way. We'll get into that different, but it's going to the center and also for everything else. But for you to give me $15 of your hard-earned money, and most importantly, your time, I really cannot thank you enough. I love everybody in here. Can you please give yourself a round of applause? Please. And all right, so we're about to wrap up. What's gonna happen now is I'm gonna actually release the podcast tomorrow morning because I'm gonna be too tired to work on it tonight. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna send you an email. I'm not gonna blast you. I hate when I get like spam mail, but I'll just send you an email about this interview and also the remaining work that I'm doing. And again, what I'm trying to do is just work with amazing people, sit down with them and understand their stories. And I don't limit the industry that I focus on. I speak to all sorts of people. You know, my friend Jabari in the back, she's a playwright. You know, Will Dennis, he's an artist. He's a poet. Then we have Mimi in the back. She's an opera singer. We have Nova over there. He's an international DJ. And if I miss somebody else, yeah, so I hope I didn't miss anybody else. Okay, I don't think I did. But yeah, did I? Okay, I thought you said, okay, cool. But yeah, I just want to make sure that, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to build this platform that starts to open new amazing work. And again, thank you so much. We're about to wrap up right now. This is the Inside Podcast. You're here because you want to improve your life. You're here because you want to go to the next level. And I promise you come to the right place because me and my guests do everything in our power to do that. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all next time.